everyone. My name is Joseph, and today I am joined by Bob, who's our Vice President of Marketing here at Splashtop, who's kind of been part of the team for a while now and has decided to sit down with us today and talk a little bit about his journey with Splashtop, as well as a couple other questions we'll get into. So jumping right into it, Bob, can you please go ahead and share a bit about your journey with Splashtop and what inspired you to take on this role of VP of Marketing?
Oh, for sure. And first of all, thanks for having me, Joe. It's a good time to sit down and chat after a few weeks in the new position. I came to Splashtop in July of last year and was really brought in as a product marketing resource, frankly, to help with the rollout of Foxpass Cloud Radius product and really to start to integrate it into the systems and processes of Splashtop. And that proved to be really interesting experience, being able to work closely with a ton of really talented people on the marketing side, to collaborate with them to get stuff done. And we did. We got a lot of things done and achieved a lot of success with Foxpass Cloud Radius. In so doing, I was able to work closely with the people, as I mentioned, but also see Splashtop as a whole up close and personal. Splashtop is a leader, number one in the space. So the opportunity to be a part of such a team is inspiring in and of itself. And being able to have the opportunity to lead the marketing effort is humbling. So the combination of the challenge, the great people, the wonderful opportunity Splashtop has in front of us is an opportunity that just couldn't be ignored.
It's interesting because as we've been interviewing some of our more recent hires within the past couple of weeks, I feel like that's something that keeps coming up a lot in terms of we have these hires and employees that have been with us now for about a year that have come from previously much larger positions, but something about Splashtop has just drawn them in. Something about if it's the people or the vision here, and I mean, you kind of touched on that, but really, was there anything specific that when you first saw Splashtop and those discussions first started that really brought you in?
I think I'm an engineer by training. So I come at things from a product point of view. Product marketing was my beginning. Seeing the power and the performance of what Splashtop brings to the party for very complicated applications that, the speeds and feeds that Splashtop as a product provide are beyond reproach. And the opportunity to apply the business and leadership layer on top of that is really just a perfect storm of opportunity. And, it's that. The opportunity is undeniable, but we always come back to the people. And when I bring up the people, it's not just the people here, which are wonderful, but it's also the customers. And Splashtop has a relentless pursuit of customer satisfaction. And so, we'll talk more about that. But I think, that is kind of the cherry on the top, is that when you have an organization that is focused on listening to and being present with the customers, you're on an organization that can be successful. And I think that, on top of everything else I've said, that's real key. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
No, absolutely. I mean, again, that's something I can personally attest to after being here and like you said, the people here, but also the customers that we have chances to talk to every day and what we're able to go out and what we're willing to do for these customers. It's truly something special. But moving on from that, kind
Sure.
of looking back at both this role as VP of Marketing, your previous role here, kind of, as you mentioned, with the product marketing resource, as well as your previous positions at prior companies, what lessons or experiences do you find most valuable that have really helped shape your approach when it comes to marketing?
Oh, you bet. That's a good one because I'm in a real unique position here, having been in the company doing work on core product, one of the key products that Splashtop has. So I got a chance to see how the company works and to know how to get things done and to understand who everybody is and, where to go to get information, to learn. And rarely do you get to start a new job with that level of knowledge about how the company works. So the old joke of, the first week, if you know your way to the bathroom, you've had a successful week. Well, that happened in July of last year. So I'm way ahead of the curve from that point of view. And that gives me the opportunity to dive right in with other experiences. And that brings to mind a couple other experiences that I think are notable. One, earlier in my career, I was fortunate enough to be a co-founder of Kaseya. And so I was able to look at and participate in what is now the RMM industry and more from the ground up. I saw the MSP channel develop. It didn't exist when we started Kaseya. So having the experiences of why those guys are in business in the first place, what drove them to that, and understanding where they are now gives me an perspective and some insight that I think you apply that to what I just said about understanding Splashtop itself, how it gets work done, and being able to put that together and really start to see some interesting things, a knowledge of the market. I mean, we were using remote control back then, and what we have today is miles ahead of where we were then. So it's better, it's more capable, but it's, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So there's a lot of similar challenges, and that's helpful. Most recently, I was in a organization that was in a market called value stream management. Value stream management was a market that we actually created in my last company as a concept that says, when you deliver a product, when you deliver a service, the way that you need to look at it is what's the value that's being delivered, and were you successful in that? So often the focus is getting the new product out the door, getting the release out the door, and that's the end of it. We're like, great, we did it. My view is you're not done until you've heard back from the customers that they've gotten the value that you intended. And that value is a combination of capabilities, what they're able to do so that they can do their job better or faster, and also the price. So it isn't about being cheapest. It's about being the best value. And as long as we keep our eye on that, take into account the lessons we've had over the course of other experiences, all of us in marketing, knowing that we all are working together. It's not what's Bob going to do, it's what are we going to do? And having the experience of knowing what those folks can do gives me a feeling that the sky's the limit. We'll be able to do tons of great things with all that experience.
Really well said. So many great points there. Number one, just the fact that once the product's out the door, your job's not done there. Now you're listening to the customers and you're getting that feedback, you're evaluating, you're iterating, and you just continue to provide that best value no matter what product it is, of course. And then, interestingly enough, with both you and I having more technical backgrounds, but working within the marketing space here at Splashtop, it's so much we understand the product, but we understand how many resources are here and how we can tap into all of those resources. And like you said, when you first started at this position and just the wealth of knowledge that was available immediately and being able to dive right into that. I mean, that's a great lesson in itself right there of when you start a new position, or whether you transition to a position at a new company or just a new position at a company you're currently at, immediately finding those resources that are there for you and being able to work together as a team. Because like you said, it's not just what's Bob going to do, it's what we're going to do.
Right. I mean, there's way more that can get done with the team of people we have than anybody doing it themselves. So that's key.
Yeah. And so especially within, marketing in tech, it's fast paced, it's ever evolving, it's constantly changing around us. What do you see as current trends right now in marketing in tech, and maybe what trends do you see that might be coming up?
Well, there's so many places to go with that question. Literally in the decades that I've been doing marketing and in high tech, the generations of technology, techniques, processes, best practices that I've seen come and go are many. Where we are today, obviously, you can't really think about trends in technology without thinking about AI. But it's lazy to just say AI is a great trend and can we all agree on that? Well, of course we can. But I think where it becomes really interesting is, and where I've seen some big changes on the data we now have to understand our customers better. It's not data to watch them. It's data to learn from them, to understand what they like, what they don't like, where they run into trouble, how they use the product, what they like about the product in terms of how it's delivering the value they're trying to achieve, feeding that back into the machine that is Splashtop, delivering the next generation of those products to the extent that is informed by that data is critical. Now, the problem with data is that there's a lot of it. And so the angle of AI isn't so much so that it can write emails for me. The angle of AI is so that it can be much faster and better at pattern matching and understanding what's going on under the hood. I think AI is going to be in everything we do, but in confining the conversation to the data, I think that's where the big trends are. I'm a big fan of data. I always have been. And so seeing the plethora of information we now have, it just makes your mouth water. There's so many good things to do with it. I think that's really the key. The other thing that I'm seeing quite a bit of is the evolution of the techniques and processes in advertising. And we look at what is done with digital advertising and digital services, and the information there that is gleaned is just changing the game on how awareness can be built into the market to understand the value that companies like Splashtop can provide. And knowing that there's so many companies out there that do any one thing, having AI kinds of capabilities for them to be able to understand their needs and values, I think that's key too. So I love the notion that it's not just a vendor thing. The customers are using it as well for their own purposes. And so you have a lot of data, a lot of digestion of the data, and everything that you can do with that is changing not just tech, but the processes and how people think. But again, why is that interesting? It's interesting because it allows us to be better informed in terms of what our customers want. And it all comes, that's the center of the world, is that customer. And I want to understand them. And that's the trend that I think is most interesting to me.
Yeah, it's truly fascinating, especially when considering how prevalent AI has gotten recently and seeing companies just jump, headfirst into AI, and especially with marketing, throwing it into any marketing campaign that they can. But it's truly been great to see Splashtop take a step back, not immediately rush into it, but again, with AI, seeing how we can use it to better help understand our customers. And while we might have had some of this data before, the amount of time that it would have taken to sit down and sift through everything, it's impossible.
It's impossible. You wouldn't have done it. It's too much.
It's way too much. So being able to now have a feasible way of, great, we have this AI model that can help us analyze this data. So now we have the time to look at the process data and use that to inform our decisions for all of our processes when it comes to our customers in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
It wasn't so long ago that the best practice in terms of understanding customers and what they want is a focus group. You'd have, 10, 15, 20 people, maybe more, but it was often a smaller group, and you'd come from that and make huge decisions on products and services based on what 10 people in the room think. And now you're making those same decisions based on what literally thousands of people think, maybe more. And I mean, how is that not better? As long as you can accurately sift through that data and summarize it, then I think it's money. And that's the key. And not all AI platforms are doing that well. There's a lot of mistakes. So there's a cautionary tales of people that have done things and the data is just wrong. It's garbage in, garbage out, ultimately. So that's key. And so I agree with you that Splashtop's measured approach to this in terms of how it's coming in the product is very smart. And I think when that all comes to light, I think you'll see very highly secure. You'll be confident in the service, and you'll know that the direction that it came out in was informed by yourself.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, is informed by yourself
Yeah.
and the data that you like we were all able to provide with our customers.
Right.
And even just in its early days right now as we're starting to implement it, it's been fascinating to see. We actually have another video with another member of our team, Venkat, who goes a little more into it and what we're doing with these AI models for not only our marketing team, but for our sales team and for our product team, and how all our teams are able to now use this data to, again, inform the future of Splashtop.
Right.
But so moving on from there, we've talked a lot about marketing and we've talked about Splashtop. Now to kind of marry the two together a little bit more, how do you truly envision aligning your marketing goals and strategies with the overall larger goals of Splashtop, especially as someone who's shifted from a prior role more within product and product marketing to marketing focused?
That's an easy one. I think because you don't have a marketing strategy if it's not aligned with the goals of the corporation. I mean, that's how you start. So it's almost impossible to mess that up. So, and here's no different. I mentioned the focus on the customer. It's one of the very first things I noticed about Splashtop being inside Splashtop. The focus in all parts of the organization. We just had an all hands this week where we celebrated those that are involved in customer facing positions. And it was an exciting celebration. I mean, it's not just lip service. I mean, people live it. I think as long as you keep that in mind, as long as you consider the value that you're delivering to them, I mean, that's what keeping them in mind means. I'm not keeping them in mind to disservice to them. I'm keeping them in mind to add value to their life. So long as we keep that as the North Star, then I don't think you can ever have a strategy that would diverge from it, because, it's like if both of us are heading to point A, we'll both get there. We just need to do it as well as we can. And that gets to, well, how do, the details of the plan. But aligning it from a strategic point is very straightforward. We know where we want to go because our customers tell us where they want to go. And they vote with their dollars. So it becomes real clear real fast. And that's really, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think that's a very recurring theme here on this video is with almost every question is it's customer focused. With everything we're doing from every team, we are listening to the customer. We're doing it for the customer. That's the goal. No matter what, that's the strategy, is by listening and being open to feedback from our customers.
Right. And that's how we've gotten here. And that's how the product has evolved. So it'll continue. It's some of the information we're hearing about where we want to go is real exciting. So we look forward this year to be talking about some very cool things that have been inspired by these very conversations with customers. It's an exciting time.
Absolutely. I mean, hearing how the core product has changed over the year, and again, by listening to our customers, seeing what else we're able to offer from that. And really, that was a big part of bringing you in, was being able to help us with our Foxpass implementation, because that was an area that our customers were interested in, but they didn't have a clear solution before that.
Right.
So we listened to them and we worked with the team at Foxpass. We brought a couple people in, yourself included, and we listened to the customer, kept working from there. And in 2024, it's rapidly developing.
It has. Absolutely.
So transitioning from your prior role now into the vice president of marketing, I'm sure transitioning from any role comes with its own challenges. I mean, it's bound to happen. Can you describe one challenge that you faced with this transition and how you handled it?
It's interesting. We've got some recurring themes because I think the biggest challenge, I believe, is the information that you have to absorb as you pick up a broader role. There's a lot going on at Splashtop. We have initiatives that cover a broad spectrum of users, from individuals that want to connect to their home computer from work to major corporations that are standardizing on Splashtop for remote support and everything in between. So the challenge of coming up to speed from a marketing perspective on all the different initiatives and all the different stakeholders that exist in all of that is significant. So that's that's absolutely the biggest challenge. And I told everybody as I was getting up to speed, I'm going to prevent myself from making decisions too quickly. Because what I want to do is make sure that I learn and understand where everything is at as completely as I can so that I'm making informed decisions. So that's been the approach, is listening, being present with people, collecting and organizing the information, but kind of reserving judgment until I have a complete picture, which I'm really starting to get now. And that's been good. And one of the big helps was there's a lot I didn't have to get up to speed on. If you think about coming into this position, into Splashtop, hired off of, the street, if you will, every company has a personality and a culture, a process, the underlying process, the undocumented process. I mean, every company has it. And understanding that gives me an avenue to exercise what I'm learning in all this listening. So it's been listen, participate, be present, be transparent, and be collaborative. Marketing is all about collaboration. And, every department in the company utilizes marketing in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the information from marketing, the leads from marketing, the look and feel and branding that somebody might need for a trade show or a support effort. It's all coming back to marketing. So you've got to be listening and paying attention to every corner of the business, which is one of the reasons I like marketing so much. It really is complete 100% coverage of all the initiatives. And that's the challenge, is that we have this thing going on. Let's get all that information. Oh, we have this thing coming on, all that information. And then to see that some of the same people are doing all that, the talent around here is off the charts. So, that's the last little secret, is you're not doing this alone. So as you come up to speed, every single person has offered to go out of their way to help me with whatever their special power was or is to get up to speed. And believe me, I take advantage of that.
I mean, right there, you just gave like 5 or 6 fantastic lessons that I think we can all take, not just for marketing, but into any role, and especially any transitional role. And I think kind of moving from that, I would want to ask, with all of this knowledge that you've gained, not just here, but again, like you mentioned in your decades of working in tech, do you have any plans on how you would like to kind of help develop and mentor possibly the future leaders within our departments here, or just any of the other team members here at Splashtop?
I find that process to be very natural. I can't ever remember, as I reflect on that, I can't ever remember walking into my office any time in my career and thinking to myself, today I'm going to mentor, or let's see, it's Tuesday, I'm going to lead today. It's kind of something that it just happens naturally. I've worked with some of the finest marketing and business minds in our generation and maybe even the previous generation. And they've been tremendous mentors and have helped me develop my career and my skills. Never once did I sit down and say, will you be my mentor? I need to learn from you. Never once. But I always wanted to, but it's natural. So my approach is kind of like what I've been talking about already, is listen to people, work with them, collaborate with them, help them. I also am a storyteller. So I love to bring things home, in lessons I've learned that might be appropriate, not because I'm thinking, oh, this will be good. I like to tell them. I mean, they're interesting, fun experiences. And when people are embarking on a difficult project or getting out of their comfort zone, hearing a story or understanding somebody else's perspective who's been in that position, maybe it's me, maybe it's somebody I worked with, to be able to share that kind of information is invaluable. And I found that that's really effective in getting people like stories. And people have been telling stories since before the written word. And I still believe that's what makes the world go round. So it's listening, learning, understanding everyone's perspective, taking that into account, applying the lessons that I've learned before, putting color to it with stories of real people, and probably people that they've heard of that struggled with the same things, I think inspires people to be better. And I think that's always worked for me in the past. See no reason not to do it in the future. And again, that's one of the reasons I'm here, is when you, even if it's only subconsciously, as you talk to people, you not only see how talented and capable they are, you see how hungry they are to learn and be better. If folks want to learn and be better, then you don't have to try to teach them. They pull it out of you. And that's the beautiful relationship that I've had with so many people. And I have it already with people here, and I think we'll grow that.
Yeah, I truly think some of the best lessons are the most simple. Just that whole concept of being willing to listen and being willing to collaborate. And again, talking to what you mentioned with storytelling, the years that I've been here and just the amount that I've been able to learn from the stories that I've heard and the experiences that others have had, again, with how talented and smart and hungry to learn that, everyone here is, it's truly a cycle that everyone just keeps building this foundation on top of each other.
Yep.
And the knowledge it never stops. And it creates for some, again, amazing collaboration.
Yep.
Which is perfect because that's where I want to go next with all of this talk about collaboration. And we've talked about both the overall team and the marketing team. How do you kind of perceive fostering that collaboration between the marketing team as well as the overall office here at Splashtop?
We've talked a little bit about that already, as you mentioned. And I think marketing is all about collaboration. People used to ask me I know it, sales, I know what they do, they sell. I know what finance people do. They, do spreadsheets and do, crank numbers. What is the product that marketing builds? And my answer to that is always communication. That's what marketing does. Every single thing marketing does is all about communication, both ways, listening and speaking. Whether it's, materials you're writing, whether it's whatever it is, everything is communication. So if I keep the customer in mind, I think my communication, I'm listening and I'm participating and being present across, collaboration is natural. And Splashtop is all about collaboration without marketing in mind, without me in mind. That's one of the things you learn is you get into a meeting and it's very common to have multiple founders in the meeting with you. I mean, people giving their opinion. Everybody is about collaboration. You can't work here if you're not collaborating. So, how will I do collaboration? It's like getting into a fast moving stream. I'm just going to get in and we'll keep collaborating. Now, the good news is that that's something that I think is important anyway. And as a marketing person, we can't get anything done without some other group. We can create all the leads we want, but if sales isn't there to sell it, or if we've created the wrong leads and we're talking to the wrong people, that's a problem. We can't go to a trade show without other people. We can't release a product without an entire company of engineering and QA and customer service and success. We can't do anything without other people. There are other jobs that you can do stuff without as many groups, not in marketing. So if you're going to be successful in marketing anywhere, you have to collaborate. If you're going to be successful at Splashtop in any job, you have to collaborate. So it's a natural marriage. I think it'll be real straightforward. We just have our North Star and march in that direction and make sure we're communicating. And I think we'll be just fine.
No, truly. I mean, our whole product is built on collaboration. With Splashtop, you want to connect to other people and collaborate with them? That's what Splashtop is here to help with. And the entire company stands behind that, again, like you mentioned, just in our everyday work, with every position, with every meeting. A really, really great point was how you mentioned with meetings, it's super common to have one or even more founders of the company there. Funny point was when a lot of our support team, when they do their onboarding process, one of our founders loves to just sit in and be able to talk with them, tell their stories, collaborate with them. And I I don't know how many other tech companies you're getting that experience with. Having a co-founder sit down day one with a brand new technical support engineer and be able to share their knowledge with them and collaborate, and even just starting that from day one in a technical support role, it continues with you. And you take that feeling with you and you just continue to collaborate with everyone else that you meet and work with here.
Absolutely. And great point about the product. You know, its middle name is collaboration as well. That's what it's there for. So it all starts there, and that's absolutely a true story.
I think we've had a great discussion today, over 30 minutes of great content and truly great knowledge. So I want to leave it off with you. If there's any message you would like to share with our users and the broader tech community in general, I will open up the floor to you.
I hope what people have heard is how important they are in our strategy. Whether you're a customer, whether you're using a competitive product, whether you're not using any product at all and you're just in IT or you're an MSP, you're all important. I want to understand it all. I think we're doing that. I think I've been doing it already, over the last 9-10 months that I've been here. I think watch this space. We have a lot of really exciting things because with all this collaboration and listening and talking to customers, we have been using that information and we have been busy with building out what we see as our North Star to extend on what we did when we released Splashtop Enterprise, and really start to have a product that scales from the single user to large organizations in a seamless and beautiful way. It gives people the ability to collaborate. It gives people the ability to use our product in ways that they never dreamed. So I think if you watch this space, you'll see some really exciting things, and I suspect you'll see a little bit of you in it as well. So that's pretty cool, I think.
Truly well said. I really appreciate it. Thank you again so much for your time.
You bet, Joe.
We'll catch you next time.